With the League One top two not in action last night, both Ipswich and Derby put wins on the board to apply a little bit of pressure to Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday. So, where does this leave this fascinating promotion race? Leaders Plymouth were already in sort of recuperation mode. They are currently in the middle of a 2-week break with no midweek fixture yesterday, and they don't play at the weekend with the FA Cup reducing the EFL programme down. Sheffield Wednesday were due to play at Cheltenham last night, but the game was called off just before 1 p.m. due to a frozen pitch. With Wednesday in good form, having fully prepared and already down in Cheltenham, the postponement will have pretty high nuisance value for Darren Moore and the Wednesday players. It's not just the wasted focus and time. A win would have put Wednesday top on goal difference, with both themselves and Plymouth having 18 to play. Obviously now, an awkward away fixture is going to need to go somewhere in a spare midweek during the run-in. Of course, we all know, watching this video, what's coming next, don't we? With Wednesday and Plymouth not in EFL action this weekend, their next fixture is against each other. A mouth-watering head-to-head on February the 4th. This means, in the short term, that the teams chasing the top two knew last night was a chance to make up 3 points, and one or both sides of Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth will definitely be dropping points in the next fixture. With Plymouth and Wednesday barely blinking over the past couple of months, standards so high and margins so fine, this opportunity to apply some pressure could be invaluable for the chasing pack. And not only did everybody win, the manner of a couple of the victories looks pretty significant too. Ipswich blew away the cobwebs after their poor point scoring run had stretched to over 10 games. Morecambe were comfortably dispatched 4-0, but it was the nature of the performance that resonates most. At their worst, we know this season Ipswich have been a little bit fluffy, had lots of the ball, made chances, and still not won games, particularly lately. Last night, the finishing was on point. The goals all flew in during a dominant first half, and it was a much-needed clean sheet at the back. The other huge positive for Ipswich was the debuts of their two big January signings, permanent signings that is. Harry Clark and Nathan Broadhead both started. The best case scenario for Ipswich last night was a morale-boosting win with the new faces contributing. That is exactly what happened. Ipswich got exactly what they needed. Speaking of morale, you can't really top Derby at the moment. They're just in one of those runs where they look absolutely unstoppable. They went behind at Port Vale in the second half too, but mounted a dramatic late win with goals in the 87th and 89th minute in front of a packed out away stand, turning the match on its head. Obviously, it's not the most repeatable or viable way to win a game, but it doesn't half underline the winning mentality and momentum that Derby have got in their favour at the moment. It's 5 EFL wins in a row for the Rams, and they now go on a run of 5 games in 7 at Pride Park in the league to take them to their own head-to-head against Plymouth. I should mention that all of the favourites in their games won last night, including Bolton and Wycombe up in that top 8 playoff picture. I hate to say it, but it felt really like last season where the League One table split into 2 sections with one beating the other and nobody really moving a hell of a lot. What does this all mean for the promotion race? Well, I'll get there in just a second. But if you enjoy what we do here on the channel, you can help me out on this slog by supporting financially over at Patreon. There's exclusive content and the chance to debate with me face to face and the members every month on our roundtable show. Okay, team by team, I assume Plymouth fans will probably be happy that Sheffield Wednesday didn't play. They would have preferred them to play and lose, I guess. They'll take whatever psychological advantage they now get from going into the big head-to-head game coming up top of the table. They could have done without Ipswich and Derby winning, but I assume the mentality of Plymouth fans at the moment is that with this points advantage in the table, matters are still very, very much in the Pilgrims' hands. I guess, and through absolutely no fault of their own, Sheffield Wednesday were the only real losers from last night. They lost that opportunity to go top, whatever significance you give to that. Everybody else gained ground, and the Wednesday running got one match more crowded with the cancellation. On the flip side, I guess a certain little Scottish midfielder may well be available for another game that he might not have played last night. Ipswich got the springboard they need to now get their heads down and chip away at those ahead of them. Not much really changes in that they need to get on their own winning streak and wait for an opportunity to present itself. The manner of the victory and the involvement of the new signings, though, should raise confidence at Portman Road. And Derby, well, honestly, I don't really blame their fans for getting a little bit carried away as they just continue to win under Paul Warne. We know there's always the chance for Derby and indeed Ipswich that if Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday don't relent, then their own excellence may be for nothing in the automatic race. It does feel the way we're going, though. We could actually be headed towards a thrilling 4-horse promotion race. I'm not saying we're there, or indeed that we'll definitely get there, by the way, but last night's events changed things very slightly, and we know that the Wednesday versus Plymouth head-to-head could change things very slightly more. And we all know that as we get into the home straight, things get a little bit more tense and a lot more interesting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Fans of Plymouth or Wednesday, Ipswich or Derby, any other team in fact, get involved. We're going to try and do deep dives on all of the top 3 in the league in due course. In the meantime though, click over here to see a bit of work that's aged quite well entitled "Will Paul Warne Take Derby Back to the Championship?"